All right, everyone, get ready for this deep dive because we're going into some pretty uncharted territory.
Oh, yeah.
You know how you've been trying to figure out how to get your development team to really own their projects,
Right.
to go beyond just coding and really embrace that agile spirit?
Right.
Well, you sent us this conversation, and get this, it's in Hebrew.
Wow, Hebrew. That's
Yeah, Hebrew. Not exactly our usual source material, but let me tell you, it is packed with insights.
I bet.
It'll have you totally rethinking how you motivate your team.
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Okay, so this conversation, it's like a hidden gem.
Okay.
It starts out pretty normal, with a manager asking about how to encourage developers to take end-to-end ownership.
Right. So like seeing a project through from beginning to end.
Exactly, like almost being mini CEOs of their own features.
Interesting.
And they toss around some of the usual suggestions, like setting clear expectations, giving developers autonomy in their technical choices, and making sure they're connected to customer feedback so they understand the impact of their work.
All good stuff. For sure.
Definitely solid starting points, but then the conversation takes this really sharp turn.
Oh.
Someone brings up this idea that maybe, just maybe, the way we're paying people is actually working against those agile goals.
Whoa, hold on. You're saying how we structure pay could actually be demotivating.
That's exactly what they're saying.
That's a connection I hadn't really made before.
Yeah, it's like a clash of two worlds.
I see what you mean.
On one hand, you've got all those agile values, shared responsibility, collective ownership.
Right. Everyone working together.
Exactly. And on the other hand, you've got that traditional pyramid pay structure,
The classic corporate ladder.
where people are often rewarded based on their position in the hierarchy, not how much they're actually contributing to a product's success.
So you're saying it's like we're incentivizing people to climb that ladder instead of actually focusing on the product.
It's almost like we're accidentally encouraging them to stay in their lane.
Yeah, if a developer's main focus is getting that promotion,
Right.
then why would they go above and beyond if it doesn't mean a bigger paycheck?
And it's not like developers are lazy or anything.
Not at all.
It's that the system itself is sending these mixed messages,
It's a trap so many companies fall into.
especially as they grow.
You start with this amazing collaborative, agile mindset.
Right.
But then as you scale, that old school hierarchical thinking just creeps back in.
It's like you can't put new wine in old wineskins.
Exactly. You need a compensation model that actually supports and reinforces the agile way of working.
And this is where that Hebrew conversation gets really juicy.
Okay, I'm all ears.
They start exploring all these potential solutions that could actually align pay with those agile values.
Like what?
We're talking dynamic performance-based pay that directly rewards developers based on how well the product performs.
Interesting.
So think like team-based bonuses tied to hitting certain product KPIs.
Oh, so instead of individual bonuses,
Yeah.
the whole team wins or loses together.
Exactly. Everyone's in it together.
I like that.
They even talk about individual rewards linked to things like customer satisfaction scores.
So it's not just about hitting internal metrics, it's about the actual user experience.
It's all about value creation. So instead of just getting a raise for, say, becoming a senior developer, your pay is actually tied to how much value you're bringing to the product.
I see. So it's like everyone becomes a mini stakeholder.
That's the idea.
I like it.
And they take it even further, talking about profit sharing and stock options.
Whoa. So developers literally get a piece of the pie.
It's next level, right?
Yeah. But I can see how that would create a powerful sense of ownership.
It's not just a job anymore. You're invested in the company as a whole.
That makes sense.
It's about sending a message like, hey, we're all in this together and we all benefit when the product succeeds.
It's about that shared sense of purpose.
Exactly. And that can be incredibly motivating.
For sure.
But it's not just about the money, right? This conversation also gets into the importance of transparency and communication.
Right, because even with the coolest pay structure, if developers are in the dark about the bigger picture,
Exactly.
it's hard for them to feel truly invested.
They emphasize being upfront about business goals, financial performance, and how individual work contributes to the overall success.
It's like connecting those dots,
Right.
making sure developers understand that their code isn't just lines on a screen.
Right.
It's actually impacting the bottom line, the customer experience, the whole shebang.
It's about giving them context and purpose, moving away from that old just do what you're told mentality.
I like that, giving them a seat at the table.
And that ties directly into this whole idea of decentralized responsibility, which we'll dig into more later.
No, I can't wait.
Okay, so we've seen how traditional pay structures can clash with these agile values.
Yeah.
But what are some of the alternatives,
Yeah.
models that actually work? I bet our listeners are dying to hear some, like, real-world examples.
Okay, so let's get practical.
Yeah.
The Hebrew conversation actually goes into some, pretty fascinating models.
Okay.
One that really caught my eye was dynamic performance-based pay, but with a twist.
Ooh, a twist. I like it.
So imagine your team is working on this new feature,
Okay.
and everyone's bonus is tied directly to how well that feature performs.
So instead of individual bonuses, it's like the whole team wins or loses together.
Exactly.
I can see how that would really encourage collaboration.
Definitely.
But could it also create some tension, you know?
Oh, for sure.
What if some team members are, like, pulling more weight than others?
Yeah, that's a good point.
How do you address that?
So the conversation acknowledges that measuring individual contributions in a team setting can be, kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Some companies get around this by using peer feedback in their performance reviews.
Oh, interesting.
So you have team members anonymously provide feedback on each other's contributions.
So it's not just about the numbers. It's
Right.
about recognizing the people who are really going above and beyond.
Exactly. And it adds a layer of accountability, too.
Okay, I like that a lot.
And don't forget about linking rewards to customer feedback.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Imagine a system where developers get bonuses based on how satisfied customers are with the features they built.
So it really pushes them to think about the end user.
Yeah, it's not just writing code anymore. It's about the actual user experience.
Customer support tickets become valuable feedback loops.
Exactly, not just annoyances.
Everyone becomes responsible for making the customer happy.
For sure, it breaks down those silos.
I like it.
Now, the conversation also touches on a more radical approach:
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
profit sharing and stock options.
This is where developers become, like, mini owners, right?
Exactly. They get a slice of the company's success.
It sounds amazing in theory, but how does it actually work in practice?
It's definitely becoming more common, even in startups these days.
Oh,
Yeah, so think of it like this.
okay.
Instead of just a fixed salary,
Right.
everyone gets a base pay.
Okay.
And then on top of that, a percentage of the company's profits is distributed amongst the team,
Interesting.
or they're given stock options.
Which lets them buy company shares at a discounted price.
Exactly.
So if the company does well, everyone benefits financially.
Right. It's a win-win.
That's a powerful motivator for sure.
It is.
But does it actually impact performance?
Well, there's actually some research out there
Okay.
that suggests that companies with profit-sharing programs,
Yeah.
they tend to have higher productivity
Hmm.
and higher employee satisfaction.
It makes sense if you feel invested in the company.
Right.
You're going to be more motivated to see it succeed.
Absolutely. It's not just about the money either.
What else is it about?
It's about creating that sense of shared ownership,
Right.
that feeling of, hey, we're all in this together.
We all have skin in the game.
Exactly.
And I bet that helps with attracting and retaining top talent too,
Oh, for sure.
especially in today's job market.
It's a huge differentiator for companies.
It makes a lot of sense.
But here's the thing.
What's that?
Even with the most innovative compensation model, it won't work if people don't understand how it all fits together.
Okay, so we've talked about transparency before, but
Right.
what does that actually look like in this context?
So imagine a company where the financials are completely open.
Open book.
Everyone can see the revenue, the expenses, the profit margins.
Wow, that's radical.
Yeah, and they understand how their individual work impacts the bottom line.
I see.
And it's not just about the numbers.
What else is it about?
It's about being transparent, about the company's strategy, the challenges they're facing, the goals they're striving for.
It's like making sure everyone's on the same page,
Exactly.
working towards a common goal.
It creates trust and buy-in.
That's really cool.
And this goes hand in hand with decentralized decision-making,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
which is another key theme that comes up in this conversation.
We talked about it earlier, the idea of feature teams functioning like mini startups.
Right. With their own autonomy.
I'm really interested to explore this further.
Yeah, me too. It's a fascinating concept.
So instead of managers dictating every single step,
Right.
you're trusting the team to figure out the best way to achieve the goals.
Exactly. It's about empowering them.
That takes a lot of faith in their abilities.
It does, but it can be a real game changer.
It makes sense if you give people ownership,
Yeah.
they're going to be more invested in the outcome.
It fosters innovation, creativity, a sense of shared responsibility,
All those good things.
and you just don't get that in a top-down environment.
Okay, so we've covered these cool compensation models
Right.
and the importance of transparency and decentralized decision-making.
Yeah.
But I have a question.
Shoot.
What about the managers who are used to, like, being in control.
Yeah.
Letting go can be scary for some people.
For sure.
So how do you make sure things don't go totally off the rails?
Right. How do you maintain some level of control?
Yeah.
That's a great question, and it's something that comes up in the conversation.
Okay, good.
The key is to shift from a mindset of control to a mindset of enablement.
Enablement.
Yeah, so instead of dictating every step,
Right.
managers become facilitators, coaches, mentors.
I like that.
They provide guidance, remove roadblocks, empower the team to make decisions.
So it's about supporting the team without, like, micromanaging.
Exactly, trusting them to figure things out.
Even if they make mistakes along the way.
Right, because mistakes are opportunities for learning and growth.
And when you create that safe environment where people feel comfortable experimenting and taking risks, you unlock this whole new level of creativity.
For sure. It's just not possible in a culture of fear and blame.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
This transition from control to enablement.
Yeah.
It can be tough for some managers.
I bet.
It requires a real shift in mindset.
Definitely.
Willingness to let go of the reins.
But it sounds like it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. It's a worthwhile journey.
Yeah.
And it can be incredibly rewarding for everyone involved.
Both the manager and the team.
When you trust people to do their best work and you give them the autonomy to make decisions,
Yeah.
it creates a much more engaged and fulfilling work experience.
And ultimately, that leads to better results.
For sure.
This conversation is blowing my mind.
I know, right?
It's challenging all these fundamental assumptions about, like, how we structure teams and incentivize performance.
It's not just about tweaking a few things.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental shift in mindset and approach.
That's a great way to put it.
It's about creating a more humane, more equitable, and ultimately more successful way of working.
We're talking at a whole new future of work.
Yeah, one that's more collaborative, more fulfilling, more human.
I love it. I'm already feeling inspired to rethink how we do things on my own team.
That's awesome.
But I know our listeners are probably thinking, like, where do I even begin?
Right. What are the first steps?
What are some practical things I can do to start moving in this direction?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll dig into deeper in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay. Can't wait. This is getting good.
We'll explore some concrete strategies for actually implementing these ideas,
Awesome.
starting with small steps that can make a big difference
Love it.
in shifting your team's culture and mindset.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to wrap things up and explore how to put all of this into action. Okay, so we're back for the final part of this deep dive, and things are about to get, like, philosophical.
Oh, deep thoughts time.
We've talked about all these practical strategies for, aligning pay with agile values.
Right.
But this conversation takes it a step further, like questioning some really fundamental assumptions about power and control in the workplace.
Interesting.
They even use this, like, thought-provoking phrase,
What's that?
master-servant relationships,
Wow, that's
to describe the dynamic that traditional hierarchies often create.
it's a powerful image for sure.
It really makes you rethink, like, how we approach leadership and collaboration.
Yeah.
The conversation argues that true agile, like, it can't exist in an environment where some people are seen as masters and others as servants.
I see what they're saying.
It's about shifting to more of a partnership model.
Right, where everyone is valued equally.
Exactly, regardless of their position on the org chart.
Okay, I like that.
But how do we actually move away from that, like, ingrained master-servant mentality?
Yeah, it's so deeply rooted in our culture.
What are some tangible steps we can take to create that, like, true partnership model?
Well, I think it starts with awareness,
But
recognizing that those power dynamics exist.
Even if it's unintentional?
Exactly. And then it's about consciously choosing to operate from a different set of values.
Like, what kind of values?
Values like respect, trust,
Right.
and a genuine belief in the potential of every single person on the team.
So it's about leading with empathy and humility.
Yeah.
Rather than ego and authority.
It's about seeing your team members as partners. Not subordinates.
People who are there to help you succeed, not just follow orders.
Exactly. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels safe to speak up, share their ideas,
Right.
and even challenge the status quo.
Without fear of, like, being punished.
Exactly. And it's about actively seeking out diverse perspectives.
I like that.
Recognizing that the best solutions often come from collaboration, not top-down directives.
It makes sense when you think about it.
It does.
But that requires a lot of vulnerability from leaders, right?
It does, for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Being willing to admit that you don't have all the answers.
that you need your team to succeed.
That's a big step for some people.
It is. It's about trusting people to do their best work,
Right.
even if they make mistakes.
It's about shifting from control to enablement.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we're talking about creating a psychologically safe space.
Yes.
Where people feel empowered to experiment, take risks, learn from their mistakes.
It's about creating a culture of continuous learning and improvement.
Where everyone feels like they're part of something bigger.
Exactly. And it's about celebrating successes together.
And learning from failures as a team.
Without pointing fingers or placing blame.
We're all in this together.
Exactly. And we can achieve so much more when we work collaboratively.
That's a really beautiful vision.
It is.
But I'm sure some listeners are thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I actually implement these changes?
Right. Where do I start?
What are some practical first steps?
Well, it can be as simple as actively soliciting feedback from your team
Okay.
and genuinely listening to their concerns and ideas.
So just being more open to hearing what they have to say.
Yeah, and it could be about being more transparent with your decision-making processes,
Interesting.
sharing information openly and honestly.
So like no more secrets.
Exactly. Or it could be about creating opportunities for collaboration and cross-functional learning.
Breaking down those silos.
Yeah,
So it's not about making some huge overnight change.
Right.
It's about these small, consistent changes.
That, over time, shift the culture.
It's a journey, not a destination.
I like that. It's about constantly reflecting on your own leadership style,
Right.
being open to feedback,
Always learning.
and continuously trying to create a more collaborative and empowering environment.
This conversation has really got me thinking about, like, the deeper purpose of leadership.
Yeah.
It's not just about hitting those business goals.
Right.
It's about creating a positive and fulfilling experience for the people you work with.
It's about fostering growth and development.
And creating a sense of shared ownership and purpose.
I couldn't agree more.
It's inspiring to think that we have the power to create something truly special.
We do.
Something that honors the unique talents and contributions of every single person.
And unlocks the full potential of the team.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive into agile compensation.
I feel like I learned a lot.
Me too. I'm walking away with a whole new perspective on how we structure teams, motivate people, and just create a more meaningful work experience for everyone.
It's been a pleasure unpacking these ideas with you.
And a huge thank you to you, our listener, for sending us this amazing conversation.
It just goes to show that inspiration can come from anywhere.
Keep those sources coming, folks.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep challenging the status quo.
We'll catch you in the next deep dive.